Hello, welcome to another video in Plant and Cloud Essentials video series. In this video, we are going to continue building out the Cookie Store web app. So we are going to first bootstrap a website for Cookie Store using Plant and Cloud. I'll first list out the steps and then dive into the details of each of those steps. So deploying Cookie Store website requires us to follow these steps. Connect the GitHub code server, which is where the source code projects are hosted. And we will create a new code project. We'll create an artifact store. We'll create a product environment. We'll create a microservice. We'll create a machine account and grant required permissions. Attach the machine account to code project, add a CI/CD pipeline to code project, view the pipelines on GitHub, and after the deployment is complete, we'll navigate to the URL to open the website. I know that this seems like a lot of work, but Plant and Cloud makes it super simple to accomplish all of these tasks without leaving the console. And I'll also elaborate on each of these steps as we dive deeper. So first we will connect to the GitHub code server and then create a code project on console using an existing code project template. We'll also explore the contents of the repository after the code project is created. We are back on the console app. In order to create code projects, we have to connect code servers, but that has been done already. So move on to creating a code project. So we click create and we choose the code server that we have connected, and we will give a name to the code project. And here are the list of templates available to create the code project from, and you can search the template that we need by typing. So in our case, we are trying to deploy a static website, so this is the template to be used. And there will be a few template variables depending on the type of code project, template code project you are using. In this case, there is two variables. One is project slug, and this will be common across all the code project templates, and it is same as the ID of the code project. And then other variables can be modified. In this case, I'm replacing the website title with Cookie Store. So this will be used as the title for the website, and the project will be created on GitHub. If you want to see the created project on GitHub, you can click on the actions icon and click on view GitHub repository. So notice that a new repository was created in the GitHub account, and there is contents. It also includes a Docker file, which will be useful for building the project. And there is a few additional files that are specific to Plant and Cloud, which are included in the repository, but we don't care about those right now. We want to see how quickly we can launch the website. Now that we have created a code project, moving on to the next step in the process, we want to create an artifact store. So why do we need an artifact store? Because the Docker image created for after the website is built should be stored in a Docker repository, and Plant and Cloud can provide you an artifact store which you can create on the console. Artifact store created on console, as I said, comes with the Docker repository. Now let's go back to the console and take care of creating that artifact store. So if you click on the Plant and Cloud icon, you will navigate to the quick access dashboard, and then click on artifact stores, and you want to create a new one. So you can give whatever name you would like to give. You can also leave the value to default, and then you can choose. You need a cloud account GCP cloud account, that is where artifact stores are created, but you don't really need to bring your own cloud account. Planten Cloud, you can use Planten provided cloud account. You can also use your own GCP cloud account if you have connected your cloud account on Planten Cloud, but that's not in the scope of this video. So for now we are simply going to choose Planten provided GCP cloud account, and you can choose the region that you would like to use for this. So in this case I'm using US Central 1. You can choose any region and then click on create artifact store. So once the artifact store is created, the next step is creating a product environment. Why do you need product environment? So applications would require hosting infrastructure to run, and hosting infrastructure can be arranged by creating what is called a product environment on Planten Cloud. A dev environment will be created for running the website for cookie store product. So now let's go back to the console app and create a product environment. So click create, and we are going to give it a name called dev, and notice that the product environment ID is prefixed with the ID of the product followed by the name of the product. And you have to choose what is called a hosting environment. Hosting environment is basically a well-designed Kubernetes cluster. So either you can create new hosting environments and use them for your own product environments, or simply use Planten provided hosting environments in various regions. Right now there is 2 hosting environments available for us to be able to create this product environment. So we are going to choose US Central, and you can optionally provide a description. So this is dev environment for cookie shop product. Again, this is optional. You can skip it if you would like to. So we also have to choose the artifact store from which the Docker images will be pulled in order to deploy the microservices. You can ignore this option for now because there is only one artifact store. It has been automatically selected, and you can mostly leave all other options as the defaults and click create the product environment. So once the product environment is created, the next step in the process is to create a microservice. A microservice is created on console to basically link the code project and the product environment that we have just created. And the new microservice that we are about to create will be configured to deploy to the cookie shop dev environment that we just created. So going back to the console, clicking on Planten Cloud and click on microservices, and we are about to add a new microservice to this product, and we want to call it as website. And we have 2 code projects available for us to link, and we want to link the website code project, and we want to deploy this to the environment that we just created. However, if there is more environments, you can select all of them or select a few of them. You can mostly leave the rest of these for defaults and move on to creating this microservice. Now, once the microservice is created, the next step is to basically take care of the authorization part. Now, this part is probably going to be slightly difficult to understand, but the reason for creating machine accounts is basically Planten Cloud is going to set up automation pipelines to automatically build and deploy your website microservice to the product environment that we have created. But the Planten Cloud only orchestrates the CI/CD pipelines by creating the appropriate pipeline code on GitHub. On GitHub, the pipelines are offered to the users in the form of GitHub Actions. So Planten Cloud would create GitHub Actions code in your own code repository. So when those jobs are when the jobs get executed on GitHub Jobs, actions. The GitHub action jobs will publish the build the Docker image for your website, and then publish the Docker image created as part of the build to the artifact store that we have created in the previous step. And GitHub action jobs will also require permissions to be able to create a new deployment to the product environment that we have created, which is cookie shop dev. So now let's move on to creating this machine account, granting it what is called a product administrator role, because this has permissions to do both, which is publish the Docker image to artifact store and deploy the website microservice to this environment. And finally, after we grant permissions to the machine account we create, we will attach the machine account to the code project that we created on GitHub. So when we attach, the machine account credentials are added to GitHub Actions secrets. Going back to the console, the way you create machine accounts is machine accounts are created at company level. So all machine accounts are owned by company, not products. So we want to create a new machine account called CACD. So when a new machine account is created, the email ID of the machine account would be the name of the machine account followed by the ID of the company and iam.p machine account, which stands for plant and machine account. We would require this email ID in order to grant the permissions it needs, and the machine account will have a client ID and a client secret, which you can see by clicking on this client secret icon. But you don't really need to remember, care, or like even do anything with these for now. Simply copy the email address using the copy icon. Now, once we create it, we want to grant product administrator privileges for the cookie shop product, so that the artifact store created for the cookie shop and the product environment that we created for the cookie shop both will be accessible for this new machine account that we created. So we can grant access by going to the IAM section, make sure product context is selected, and then choose a user as the type, principal type, URL of the machine account, choose the product administrator as the role, and click save. Notice that we are looking at permissions for product cookie shop. So it is important to choose the right context when granting permissions. So at this point, we granted this machine account as product administrator permissions on cookie shop product. Now, once the permissions are granted, we want to attach this machine account to code project so that GitHub Actions running as part of this code project on GitHub will be able to utilize this machine account to build and deploy. So going back to the console, we can navigate to the source code projects and select the project that you would like to attach the machine account to. Click on attach machine account. You will see that the machine account that you have created in the previous step is available in the drop-down. After selecting the machine account, you can click on attach, and the machine account will be attached to the code project on GitHub. So if you want to see the effect of the attach operation, you can go to the settings of the repository and you can click on secrets and variables. You can click on actions and you will see that 2 different secrets have been added to the GitHub repository, and these 2 values are basically the credentials for the machine account that we have created. So we have completed all the steps, including attaching the machine account to the code project on GitHub. We will move on to the next step, which is the final act. We want to add CI/CD pipeline to the code project, and once the pipeline is added to the code project, the GitHub will kick off GitHub Actions, which will essentially build the project and deploy it to the dev environment. After the deployment is complete, we should be able to navigate to this URL and see the website working. So from console, in order to add the pipeline, click on the actions, click on add magic pipeline, and click on confirm. And the pipeline is successfully added. So if you go to the code repository, you will see a new folder. A new commit was made by Planten Cloud to the repository, and you see that GitHub workflow files are added by Planten Cloud, and all of these workflows are available on GitHub. These are standard GitHub workflows. Because a new commit has been pushed, the pipeline will start running, and within a few minutes we should see that a Docker image is built and published. So we notice that the Docker image has been built and the deployment is getting executed. While the deployment is in progress, you can go to the artifact store that we have created in the previous step and go to the Docker images section, and we can find that the image that was built as part of GitHub Actions has been published to the artifact store that was created on Planten Cloud. Going back to the GitHub Actions step, we are waiting for the deployment job to be successfully completed. Once the deployment is successfully completed, we can expect that the website will be available, although it's going to be a basic version of the website which is included as part of the template. We see that the build and deployment jobs have completed in like less than a couple of minutes. Now that the deployment is complete, we can navigate to the copy the link, and we go to this URL. There you go. So this template is included by the code template project that we have used to create the project. So within like less than 15 minutes, we went from nothing to a fully working website, including all the CI/CD pipelines. You can find more information about the running microservice, and if you have noticed, the endpoint is SSL enabled, and also more importantly, the endpoint itself is very readable. So the endpoint is constructed by combining the identifiers of the resources created on Planten Cloud. Website is the name of the microservice. Main is the branch name of the Git branch from which the deployment executed. Dev is the name of the environment. Cookie-shop is the ID of the product. pc.rocks is a domain that was arranged by Planten Cloud to create these endpoints for all the microservices without you having to worry about your own DNS domain. However, Planten Cloud allows you to get your own domain fairly easily, which I'm going to show you in another video. But if you don't have one, Planten does provide you an endpoint by default. You can find more information about the microservice that got deployed. So if you go to the product environment, if you view the product environment, you will see that a new namespace was created which is a Kubernetes namespace, and a microservice is in the running state for the website. If you would like, you can also check logs for the microservice that got deployed by going to the product microservice details and see that this microservice is running in one environment. You can stream logs for this new microservice, and as new log lines appear, you'll be able to see them. You can stop and you can restart the stream. You can clear the logs. In another future video, you'll learn more about the details of consuming logs from the console. You can add your own endpoints, which again is not in the scope of this video. We'll have a different video to basically get your own domain, create endpoints for your website using your own domain. Thanks for watching.